My name's Michael Walker. I'm from the Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust. I'm the Reserve Management and Monitoring Officer, and one of my roles is the County Mammal Recorder. So I've got a broad interest in all mammal species, particularly bats and more recently dormice. Well, beavers are a species that we should have. It's a species that was lost in the UK probably sometime in the 16th century, possibly a little bit later in small pockets, but by the 16th century they were probably pretty rare. Well, persecution were hunted, they were eaten for food, they were trapped for fur. They have a scent gland that is incredibly valuable to people, both for as a painkiller. It's treated for all sorts of things. This castor, from their castoreum, this castor oil, would be used for curing headaches, for arthritis, for toothache, for all sorts of things. And it was also used in the perfume industry. It's a real natural, musky scent that lingers. And for perfume, that's what they want. They want something that causes the scent to linger for a while and stay, so they can add other things to it. So they're a very valuable animal for a lot of people, and a lot of that value was not on them keeping them alive in the landscape. Beavers are really important for ecosystems, and they manage habitat for lots of other species. They can change the shape of rivers and streams, they build dams, they hold water back, creating pools, which benefits far more other wildlife. So they create areas where fish can breed, where amphibians, where coppicing woodlands. By coppicing I mean chopping the tree down, letting it regrow for a period of time, then chopping it down again when you've got size timber that you want to build things, to make things, to use as firewood. Beavers have been doing that thousands and thousands of years before we did, and they are nature's coppice managers. So they would, in their habitat, they would cut down trees, because they eat bark. They only really eat tree bark and vegetation, but tree bark is what they mainly eat. And of course they also use the trees to dam the rivers, to make their lodges that they live in. And that has so many benefits, because mixed-aged trees in various stages of growth provide habitats for a range of species. So I mentioned dormice, I'm interested in dormice. They like a different mixture of habitat. Birds, certain birds will want very young scrub to nest in, other species want high scrub. So beavers were doing that naturally long before conservationists and chainsaws arrived. In recent years, beavers have started to come back. First from, well, what came first? Reintroductions by official means or reintroductions by less official means? Whatever the way, I'm delighted that beavers are back. So officially, they were released into a site in Scotland, in Knapdale, in 2009, as a trial, as an experiment, and at a similar time in Devon. The Devon population were interesting because they'd already been placed there by persons unknown, and they were captured, checked that they were actually the European beaver, the Eurasian beaver, not the American beaver. Very similar species, do a similar job, but they are different. Found that they were, and they were allowed to return to living in the wild. So we've got beavers in Devon, and we've got beavers in Argyllshire in Scotland, but probably longer ago than that, an unofficial release on Tayside in Scotland, where there are now hundreds of beavers living in the river catchment there over quite a wide area. Kent, a similar sort of thing, an official release in the early 2000s. Beavers have sort of moved from that. So we are seeing more and more enclosure sites where beavers are being reintroduced, and it seems to be most counties, even Nottinghamshire, we have plans. We've got an enclosure plan either already in the system or for the next couple of years. So beavers are back, and hopefully they're back for good.
So because the Idle Valley Nature Reserve is so large, we're changing the way that we manage the reserve in the future. We're looking at trying to manage it in a much wilder way, in a way that's managed more by animals and less by people, so that we can increase the diversity and the interest of the habitats there for a whole range of exciting wildlife. Because obviously no matter how hard we and our amazing team of volunteers up there work, we're still only essentially there maybe 8 or 9 hours a day, whereas animals, of course, are there 24/7. So if they're there doing jobs to manage the habitats, such as grazing species-rich grasslands, or munching on scrub and managing it, or plodding around in the edge of a wetland to make a beautiful muddy edge for waders to breed on, the animals can just keep doing it even when we're not there. So that's the idea. So as part of our plan to do that at the Idle Valley Nature Reserve, which is part of our vision for a wilder Idle, we are going to be reintroducing beavers, who, as you know from what Michael said, are fantastic habitat engineers, and they're going to be really important up there at the Idle Valley Nature Reserve to help us manage some of the scrub and the wetlands, to create really exciting new wetlands, lots of ponds for amphibians, habitats for other species like water voles, and improving the diversity of the scrub as well for some of our breeding scrub birds. Introducing beavers is quite a long and complicated process. We obviously have to make sure that it's done in the right way, because that has to be done in a way so that we're sure it's the best solution for the nature reserve, for the habitats and species already there, to make things better for them, not worse. And we also need to make sure, of course, that it's the right place to introduce the beavers for their own welfare. So we've worked really closely with particularly our colleagues at Nottinghamshire University, with their expertise in animal reintroduction, to assess the potential site for beavers, whether there's enough food there to last them all year round, whether there's the right amount of water and dry land and depths of water and things like that, so that they'll have an amazing place where they can be happy, and then they'll do their job for us of creating wonderful microhabitats for us. We hope that we may be able to get beavers in place for summer next year, summer 2021. So we are at the start of our process of applying for a licence to do that now. We obviously have to get a licence from Natural England to reintroduce beavers into an enclosed beaver project, which is what this would be, not on the Wild River. But because we've done so much background research and gathered lots of evidence and best practice from elsewhere, we're confident that this is a great location for beavers. We've been told it's exceptionally suitable, and that we will be able to keep them enclosed within a 60-hectare area of the reserve, so that's 60 big size pitches, and they won't wander off to cause any trouble where they shouldn't be. So in Nottinghamshire Wildlife Trust, we really want everybody to be able to have a bit more contact with nature, to bring a little bit more wildness into their lives, which everyone will love and have so much fun with. So our plans for the Idle Valley to bring back wilder management on that vast scale are also part of our bigger vision for encouraging more people to bring nature and wildness into their lives. So I really hope that all of you out there can engage with that, whether it's from a window box, outside a flat, through to coming and helping volunteer in the nature reserve. There's something that everybody can do to bring wildlife back into their lives. Nature's everywhere, even in the centre of Nottingham you can have the amazing screaming swifts flying over the roofs of Sneinton. There's wildness everywhere, from cities right out to the countryside, and we hope everyone can enjoy it. And if our plans come to fruition, there will be more wildness for everybody in Nottinghamshire, more exciting wildlife on your doorstep.